Welcome back to Return of the Vintage. Today, I wanted to cover a topic that I learned a lot from when I first got started in regards to boxing items. Today, you've got me here in my garage, which I use for all my storage as well as all my supplies. And what I wanted to go over with you is regards to some of the supplies that I use, what I used when I first got started, some of the boxes that I use, and then I'm also going to box up two of the items that I have for shipping. So let's get started. First, let's go through some of the supplies that I use and give you some ideas for what you might use at home. So first thing, I have a ruler that I use that's a little bit of a longer ruler, looks like a little bit vintage, but I like it. This one here is a little bit, I use this most often. This is just a tape measure. Here are the two different types of tapes that I have. Here's a smaller version that I used a lot when I first got started. Still use this for small boxes. And then here's our larger version that I use all the time now. But once you're first starting, you don't quite need to use this, but something that I've gotten accustomed to and probably couldn't live without. Here is a scale that I use. Pretty quick, easy buy on Amazon. Got my easy pen for all my marking. And then here are the two different types of bubble wraps that I use. This is the smaller version and the larger version. And I also have some paper wrapping, kind of similar to newspaper, that I'll crumple up and put in the boxes as well. Here's a look at my box wall. So when I first got started, I was using Amazon boxes that I found around the house, or just boxes that I had extras around. But as I got accustomed and figured out which boxes I need, for me, I sell a lot of the smaller items. So I kind of recognized which ones I use the most. So I invested in the ones that I use the most and put them all here on a big shelf. The way that I go about it is I just mark the box sizes. And maybe if I send a lot of pennants, I'll use this. Or if I use a lot of hats, I'll use this. But usually a 4x4x4 I use a lot of, or my 10x4x6, or some of these that are smaller for like books, like a 7x5x2, and then a 6x6x6. So you don't see a lot of big boxes here, but it just made it so much easier just to invest in the ones that I use the most and then put them here so it's easy access to jump and grab what I need. Also, if I do use priority shipping, I just have a quick rundown of the different box sizes. So if I'm sending something flat rate, which means it's the same rate all the way across the country. And for me living in Massachusetts, it's beneficial. Sometimes if it's going to California or if it weighs a lot, I can use that flat rate shipping. But this is just an easier way not to put all the boxes here, but still know how much they weigh. Now, one of the other things I use all the time, pretty much for, I'd probably say 80% of what I ship is this right here. This is just, I bought this on Amazon. I use it all the time. It's just a plastic outside that I could use. And I just put something inside, just wrap it up, and I cut it off with my big scissors here. As you can see, it's nothing special. I literally have it on a golf club, holding it up, but it's something that I would highly recommend investing in once you get started, just because it's another layer between what you pack and what you stuff into the box. So it's something that I've really received a lot of positive comments on. So something else I'd recommend. All right. And now let's get to shipping two of the items today. So I have two antique items that I want to ship out. One is this really cool antique SSS wrench. This actually went for a little bit over $60. I found it in a big lot of other items. This is one that's going out. And the second is this antique Milton Bradley box. It's from around Springfield. It's kind of like from an old school, mostly for crayons or different items that you find in a school. So this is the other thing that's going up. Kind of good, really two good examples of some of the items I'll send out that are antique, which is what I focus on. So first things first, we're going to go with the wrench, this little guy. So I'm not going to send it an envelope or anything like this. Usually if there's something that I see that's of value, even if it's really small, I want to protect it. So for me, I'm going to put this in this nice little container. I love to put it in these. And then what I did is I grabbed this 4x4x4 box. Again, you don't necessarily need to use a box, but for me, I just like to do it because if it's an expensive item, it's over $60. The other person deserves to have the best package possible. So for this, it's a 4x4x4, and I could use this big guy, but for me, for smaller boxes, I always like to use this. It's just a little bit easier. Don't you? And what I was talking about before in regards to like a newspaper type item locally, this is just like a sheet of paper. And for me, it's a couple up. I use it all the time. But as an example, I can just grab this, get the way, put it in here, and it's all set. Now, something else that I do, I didn't do it when I first got started, but a couple months in, I decided to get thank you cards that I would put with each box. After I got used to it, I was like, I got to spend just a little bit more, spent like $70 on these individual cards that have my logo. And on the back, it just says thank you. And it has a QR code that'll take them right back to my eBay store. Who knows how much return businesses gets me, but I just think it's a nice touch. So I throw that in every time, close it up, put a tape on there, and voila. And something else that when I first got started, I didn't quite think about is that you do need to put the padding in there. The first couple items that I sent, I didn't think, oh, well, I need to put something that's a padding or else it's going to bounce around all the time. And I ended up sending items without that packaging and it didn't get damaged, but it was something that I received some feedback that I might want to put some padding in. So now I put something in there each time I can to make sure that it doesn't move around. Not that a wrench is going to be damaged, but still every time I put something in there. So the next thing I do is I just go to my scale. Had this one since day one, works well. Just put this here. It's probably gonna be about 3 ounces. Yep, 3 ounces. Now, this is something else that I learned that I really didn't pick up for a while until I saw on the video is I write down the actual ounce amount, or if it's a pound or whatever it might be. And then I put the size of the box so that when I go to get my shipping label on eBay, I have it all available here. And then I just put the label on top. So for here, I just do 3 ounce, 4 by 4 by 4. And if I have a lot of items I'm shipping out, I'll usually put a note. So this is a wrench. So that's it. And then when I put the label, it goes around the top of it. No one ever sees it. The second thing I'm going to do here is my wood box. So I'm just going to step over real quick, put the saran wrap on it. And daddy again, can I see a border? This sold for, I think, $25. So nothing too expensive, but still it gives a nice border between anything on the inside of the box. Now what we have to do though, for a larger item, even if I'm not positive, I'll just do a quick look. So this is about 7 by 7 by 7. So what I did is I grabbed 8 by 8 box, which I don't use too much of, but I use enough of it. And I always want to close it. I want to make sure those numbers are on the outside so I can remember. And I'm going to use the big guy here. Still use ball, but I'm going to use the tape. It's a little bit easier. Now, I do this each time. And for me, I also like to cover this portion here. Not that you need to, but for me, I tend to go and be on the more careful side. And I've received all very positive feedback from my boxing. So if they love pride in it, essentially, how would I like to receive it? So that's kind of the approach I take. So now I'm got a little bit of in. I put some more of this again. I look at the started fragile. Probably don't that too. And you put this in there, but I still think it's the right thing to do. It's a full run. Fit. And if it moves around a little bit, it's not going to be anything too damaging. Again, it's wood. It's not super expensive, but it's still going to live nicely. I'm going to put this in here, as I had mentioned before. Close this guy up. Close the top. And again, I like to do the top wire. That I take a lot of time and so it take too much longer. So next step, let's get it on the scale. Now, we always want to try to get items that are going to be under a pound. Again, that's why I like to send a lot of smalls or smaller items, just because there's a big difference in cost with USPS Ground Advantage. If it's under a pound or over, this will probably be a little bit over a pound, probably about a pound and maybe 5 ounces. Let's see. Ooh, okay, a pound and 10 ounces. So now remember what we do, where we think we're going to put the label. I do 1 pound 10 ounces, and you always want to round up. So I think it was like 9.7. You want to round up to the 10. And this, as you remember, is an 8x8x8. I'm going to put 8x8x8 in the wood box. All right, all set. So next step, I'm going to go and get this shipped, but that's going to be the end of our video here in regards to the beginners portion of how to box items for shipping. I appreciate your time, and give us a follow at Return to the Vintage.